Alright, so this video is going to be an S Plus guide on hardcore mode for the Claire A scenario. Some of you may have already watched my guide for the Leon A, now we're going to go through as Claire. For the most part, the scenarios play out very similarly, but I mentioned it in my Leon guide. As a character, Leon is equipped to deal with most things in the game, except for lickers.
Are you okay?
Claire is really good at dealing with lickers,
Wait
but
here.
doesn't kill things as well as Leon does. But before that, I'm going to walk you through this scene
Don't
again.
come any
So we're going to run past this zombie, grab the key, take a couple of steps back, wait for that zombie to run in the corner like that, and then we're going to hit the door. Now, I guess I probably shouldn't reference my Leon guide, because probably not everyone watching this watched that. But to finish the point I was saying is that Claire is really good at dealing with clickers, but struggles against dealing with everything else as well as Leon does. But she does have a lot of options with which to deal with things. And right here, we're just going to fast forward a little bit. This guide will have some fast forwarded sections, just, you know, if I'm not really picking up any items or needing to discuss like strategies or movement or whatever. Just gonna move forward, because again, I imagine we all have something better to do than sitting through, you know, probably like 2 hours of video. So here in the RPD, we're in the east hallway, and there's only 2 items over here that we need to get.
Focus, Claire.
We're gonna run into this room here and grab some extra handgun bullets. And there's also a first aid spray in the bathroom coming up that we're also gonna grab. Just a couple of things to preface about the commentary and the overall style of this video. As you saw, there will be sections where I fast forward just because there's not a whole lot going on. And there will be times where I chime in and out on commentary, just so that way I don't have to talk over the whole, like, you know, 50 minutes to half-hour video. So right here, we're going to start this sequence. What you want to do is you want to wait for the zombie to bust open the door and immediately run through him. He's kind of stuck in sort of an idle state for a minute, and we're going to activate the slow-mo so you can see how I run past these 2 zombies here. You want to hug the locker, dip around the corner, and then make an immediate left as soon as you get towards the wall. I would say that probably works at least 9 times out of 10. Sometimes those zombies just won't care, but for the most part, if you do it that way, you'll make it through every single time. So now we're going to grab this first aid spray, go ahead and get rid of the gas station key, and here we're going to put away the 2 first aid sprays and grab the infinite knife. Now, even though you can't use the infinite guns when going for S+, you can use the infinite knife. Now, whether or not that will be changed in the future, I don't know. I don't really see any reason for them to. But, you know, it's just really handy for these early game zombies. If you don't know how to unlock the infinite knife, then all you have to do is destroy the 15 Mr. Raccoon statues. And here we just got a little bit of fast forwarding action, and now we're going up against the first zombie that we have to deal with. So what we're going to do is we're going to put on the infinite knife, and the goal here is to sever a leg. And as Claire, you really need to make your shots count, because she takes a long time to reload her handgun. At least until we get the better one. So for this zombie, I don't even bother wasting bullets. I just slice towards the bottom of his legs. The reason why he's trying to get up there is because I didn't actually take off a leg, I took off a foot. But he won't be able to actually stand up if I do that. So we're just gonna move towards the back of the zombie, take off the legs. And now we're gonna head into the west office here. We're gonna head over to the safe to grab the extra side packs. This is the only extra inventory space we're gonna have. I'm not gonna bother getting the spare keys from the portable safes, and I'm also not going to run back to get the ones in the lab. Out of all of the other side packs, the ones in the lab are probably the ones that are more worth it to go back and get. I just don't like dealing with the extra zombies. And right there in that desk we get probably the most important upgrade for this playthrough, which is the speed loader. You really don't want to be running through on hardcore without that. Because you are going to find yourself in situations where you shoot zombies 5 times, they don't stagger, and then you're kind of screwed because you have to wait 10 years for her to reload her gun. So here in the dark room, we're going to put away the mixed herb, the ink ribbon, the regular knife, and the gunpowder. Essentially everything we don't need right now. You want to board up this window, that way you don't have to deal with that guy later. Grab some extra ammo over here. And this is another zombie we have to deal with. But it's very simple, just same tactic of shoot off a leg and start slashing him to death. I guess if the infinite knife, like if they ever do change S plus to where you can't use the infinite knife, I mean, I guess really the only difference here would be you just take off legs and then have to deal with the zombies, but I don't know. There's some people that think it'll get patched, but I just don't think it's something that, like, out of all the infinite weapons, it is by far the most balanced one, and just being able to have that extra little bit of help is nice. So if you watched my Leon guide, you noticed I skipped pretty much everything having to do with the Magnum, but we are going to be getting the submachine gun as Claire. The reason for that is because in the lab, it's just nice to have as many options as possible, and the submachine gun is also really good for sawing off legs, which is a tactic I'll be employing when we get to the sewers, but that part of the playthrough probably isn't going to be for at least another. In fact, that part doesn't start until part 2 of this guide, so stay tuned for that. So in this library, all we're going to be doing is we're going to grab this knife, we're going to get the book so we can get the ruby to get the stars key later, and then we're also going to go ahead and set up the bookshelves to where I only have to move them once later, that way I don't have to deal with the stress of having Mr. X come up and punch me. So I'm going to chime out for now. One other thing I forgot to mention that you'll see in a few minutes is I'm also going to be grabbing the lion and unicorn medals and putting them in the statue now, just so that way I don't have to worry so much about my inventory management when I loop back around to get the detonator and the third medallion.
Yeah, but we're not out of here yet.
Don't forget to use the spade key on that door, that way we can discard it when we unlock the second floor on the east side. And in this item box, I'm basically going to be getting rid of everything except my handgun, my ammo, the key, and the book. I'm also going to be, I'm gonna go ahead and grab the part for the secondary handgun you pick up, just so that way I don't have to worry about getting it later. And I've managed my inventory in a way to where I'll have enough space to pick up everything that I want, even though I grabbed this. So. Weapons locker keycard is very, very important because the grenade launcher is, I would say it's one of the better weapons in the game. Definitely more situational than the shotgun, but it is definitely one of Claire's most invaluable assets. So definitely make sure you get that keycard. So now we're gonna grab the bolt cutters, some extra ammo. We're gonna have a little chat with Marvin.
Marvin, are you there? Marvin?
Now when you go through this door, you want to do so carefully, because sometimes the cop zombie that attacks you after the door scene with Elliot, sometimes he'll just kind of be hanging out around the corner. I'm not sure what causes that to happen. It seems like if you kind of speed run through here, like back to this point, he's more likely to appear, but I don't know. Also in this room, we're picking up the regular gunpowder, the high gunpowder, the flash grenade, and the valve handle. Now for those of you who watched my Leon guide, this is how that room is supposed to go. Sometimes the zombie across the desk can just troll you and be near the door, and then you have to deal with him, and if that happens, you may have a couple zombies from the hall coming in after you. So before we head back to the west hallway, we're going to drop off the handgun part and the ruby. It's going to be a while before we need those. I just wanted to go ahead and grab them now. And this hallway right here is where you have to be really careful with your shots, because you've only got 5 per each. So we got a lucky 2-hit stagger on that guy. And we got a lucky 2-hit stagger on that guy. Run through here. Use the bolt cutters. And grab your detonator. And we're also going to get another flashbang and discard the bolt cutters. I don't know why I hit 1-1 there, probably just mashing too hard, but you're just going to hit 109 so that way you can get some extra handgun bullets. You're going to go over here to grab your grenade launcher. And even though this is a great weapon for her, this is one reason why inventory management with Claire can get a little tricky. Because you wind up carrying 2 different kinds of ammo for one gun. You want to let this zombie fall over the ledge, that way you don't have to deal with her. Then you want to grab more flame rounds, enter the code, and bam, more flame rounds. Here we're going to get this gunpowder, as well as, you guessed it, more flame rounds. We're going to ignore this liquor for now. You want to run in here, grab the battery for your detonator, and then you're going to get more flame rounds, top off your flash grenades, run over here, get your high gunpowder to make some more acid rounds, and I went ahead and got that first aid spray, and I think I get the red herb too. Yeah, I get the red herb. So, now, we want to deal with this liquor, that way we can quickly run back through here to get the machine gun later. So you're going to hit him with 1 acid round to knock him down, then immediately load a flame round, hit him with that, and he's dead. And that is how you take apart a liquor on hardcore mode with Claire. Even though I think the acid rounds are weaker, they are very, very handy because they're very good at causing knockdown on a lot of different enemies. And in addition, since they're corrosive, you can also hit a zombie in the leg, walk away, and then their leg just kind of falls off, which is pretty cool. So we're going to plant the detonator, come in here, and you want to stand in the door to keep it propped up so that way the bookshelf doesn't fall over. And once you hear the explosion happen, that is when you go for the medallion. So have your flashbang ready, and chuck one at this liquor so you don't have to deal with him, and you're home free. So now I'm just going to make my way to the first Birkin fight, so we're going to fast forward a little bit, and I will meet you there. You want to grab some more flame rounds, and for this part, I put away the red herb. See, what am I going for? Definitely none of those nice handy dandy infinite weapons. So I'm gonna grab my infinite knife, my regular knife, put away my acid rounds, and I want to make sure that I have 2 first aid sprays just in case something goes horribly wrong. I don't know if I just got unlucky in this fight, but I seem to be worse at fighting some of these bosses as Claire than I am with Leon. But, I don't know. The nice thing is the way this fight goes, it will at least show you how to handle situations when things don't necessarily go the way that you plan for them to. So that's at least something handy for reference. Those of you who watched my Leon guide, this playthrough does take quite a bit longer. I think my time on my Leon run was about an hour and 31 minutes. This one's about an hour and 45, so it's gonna be a little bit longer than the Leon run was.
Words ain't gonna cut it with this one.
So immediately as the fight starts, you want to get up and start slashing him. Once he finishes kind of transforming like that, that's when you want to throw a grenade, and immediately get up in his face and start slashing him some more. Once he starts moving again, that's when you want to run. Unfortunately, I did not do it correctly, so I got grabbed. So I'm going to go ahead and hit him with a flame round since the eye is exposed. But my goal is to use as little ammo on this fight as possible. So I'm going to run over here and pick up this second grenade. He's right there, so I'm going to chuck the grenade at him. And I'm going to equip my secondary knife. This is why I bring two knives to this fight, just in case something like this happens. And unfortunately, I get hit with the pipe, which sucks, but that's why we brought first aid sprays. Gonna chuck a flashbang to stun him. Get some more slashes in. He got staggered, so now we can get even more slashes in, which is pretty cool. And hit him with another flashbang. Keep slashing. Don't ever stop slashing. Can't stop, won't stop slashing. And I managed to get the final hit on him right before I got grabbed. So, even though that fight didn't go quite as smoothly as I would have liked, I still only had to stab him with one knife, and I only had to use one first aid spray, so I'm still fine on supplies. So here in this room, we're just going to run around and pick up some herbs for later, just to have as much safety as possible. If I haven't already mentioned, this isn't exactly an optimized speed run. This is just more of, I know where the things are that I need to survive, and make this playthrough give me as little hassle as possible. Which on hardcore, you want as little trouble as possible. So now we're going to fast forward just a little bit. Here at the item box, I'm going to drop off my infinite knife, my mixed herbs, what did I get there? Oh, a red herb. There's another red herb in the parking garage section, so I'm gonna be bringing a green herb there with me. I don't need my flame rounds, so I just had to do that so that way I could load up my grenade launcher without them taking extra space. And since I'm going to be getting the secondary handgun, I'm going to put away the SLS-60 and grab the high capacity mag.
Wow. Both of my parents are gone. It's just me and my brother.
So my inventory space and management is fine for this part.
Over there!
I have more than enough slots to pick up everything that I need.
It's closed.
Now, even though lickers are kind of annoying to deal with, I definitely prefer dealing with them down here than the dogs in Leon's game. So I want to make sure I stop running there, because even though the licker is all the way down the hallway to the right, I just don't want to take any chances of alerting him, because I don't really want to have to kill any of them. I just want to set things up so I don't necessarily have to deal with them, if that makes sense. So we're going to go over here, grab this car key, and we're going to head back through this door here. And I guess I thought I had the parking garage key for some reason, I don't know. But for those of you who may not know this, this is what this item does. For Leon, this is where you get the stock for your Matilda On hardcore, that's not really something you want, but for Claire, you get a much, much better handgun, which is definitely going to be very, very helpful later on in the game, where sometimes you need more than 5 shots per clip. Gonna grab this high gunpowder, mix up some more acid rounds. There's this liquor right here. Don't need to deal with him, so we're just gonna walk around. He's minding his business, so we're gonna mind ours. There's another one that comes in, but as long as you keep moving, you'll be fine. We're gonna open up this one to grab this red herb, mix it with our green one, just so that way we have a free heal. Our goal is to not have to use that before getting out of the parking garage, but it's just there in case something goes horribly, horribly wrong. That flashbang is going to be very important. Now, for this guy, for grabbing the diamond key here, you want to sprint around the gurney, and once you grab the key, immediately turn around. The reason you want to do it that way is so you can run past that guy. I took the time to shoot him in the leg just because I didn't want to risk him grabbing me and biting me, because I wanted to keep my heal in case something went wrong here. So we're going to chuck a flashbang. This is going to stun the lickers just long enough for us to get out of this room safely. Now you want to have your grenade launcher with an acid round. Shoot this one, and that will knock him down and have him stunned long enough for you to quickly make your way out of that room, and you are safe from the lickers for now. I think there's one or two more in RPD that we have to deal with, but we can sneak past them, so they're not going to be too much of a hassle. Grab this blue herb to get yourself a nice defense boost. And just like with the long barrel in Leon's game, you do not want to combine the stock with the grenade launcher yet. We're not going to use that until we get to the G3 fight. So you're gonna have to deal with the wide crosshairs of the grenade launcher for a while, but it's not that bad. In here we're going to get this machine gun ammo, and before hitting the item box, I'm going to go ahead and grab the heart key. This is a section that things are going to look a little bit tedious the way that I do it, but with the limited inventory space that you get on hardcore, I just have to make sure that I have room to grab everything I want to get. So we're going to put away all the grenade launcher stuff. We're going to put away the full heal. And I believe this is where I grab the ruby. Yeah, we're going to grab the ruby. Use the heart key on this door. Now the nice thing about Claire's game is that she can get the jewelry box before Mr. X shows up. So that's really, really good. Here I think I was just kind of going over my inventory to make sure I would have enough space to pick up everything that I wanted. So we're gonna go ahead and go in here. We're gonna get these extra flame rounds. And I want to go ahead and shoot this guy's leg off. And I'm also going to take his buddy's leg off as well. What I was saying though is The nice thing about Claire's game is that you end up unlocking all of the heart key doors, so you don't have to worry about the club key taking up an extra space throughout the police station. So we're going to get this extra handgun ammo to replenish what we used, and we're going to head down to the basement to get the jewelry box. The reason why you want to get the wooden boards from upstairs is so you can board up this window. Just to make absolutely sure that this guy does not come in on your way out of here. Now, any of you who played the original RE2, you know exactly what happens when you're about to run out of this room, right? It's another liquor. Fortunately, we can just simply get out, don't have to worry about him. So, I would assume you can probably jump through the window to get to the other side of the interrogation room. I've never tried it just because I always run out of that room, but you know. So here at the item box, we're going to, that was a mistake, me dropping off the stars key there. But we are going to drop off the one part and the flame rounds. It takes me a minute to realize that I accidentally put the USB key in the box. Fortunately, there is another item box on the way to where we'll be using it, so it's not that big a deal. Now this part right here is a little bit trickier to handle as Claire, mainly because we do not have a shotgun like Leon did. We are running through with only a handgun right now. And I really didn't want to use my flashbang there, but that's what happens when you're bad. So, the important thing is I got through that without taking unnecessary damage. So that's the ultimate goal. I don't really need that flashbang as much with Claire because she does not have a horde of zombies in the jail cells that she has to go through like Leon did, so. And here is Mr. Big Boy, Mr. X himself. So we're going to lure him outside so that way you have more room to juke him. And you're simply going to run around in a little circle here and immediately book it down the hallway. And the route that we want to take is we want to go through the west office, and we're going to be cutting through the door that we used the bolt cutters on to get to the next heart key door. And since I accidentally put it in the box, we're gonna pick up the USB key here. If you didn't put it in the box like I did, then you can just simply run to this door. Also, you want to go around where Marvin is, that way you don't trigger him to get up. And before you go out this door, you want to make sure that you're walking, because this hallway does have lickers in it. And this is the last heart key door. Go ahead and discard that so it's not taking up your inventory space. We're going to grab this grenade, and then we're going to wait for Mr. X to show up. And there he is, right on time, and boy is he scary on hardcore where he practically runs at you. So again, make sure you're walking before you go out in this hallway. It is a little scary considering you have Mr. X right behind you, and that was really unfortunate that I got clipped by that liquor there, but you know, hey, what can you do, right? So we're going to heal up, and before we move the bookshelves, at least I think, before we move the bookshelves, we are going to... Oh no, maybe I do move the bookshelves first. Or maybe I just want to drop this thing off. I did this playthrough yesterday and I'm already forgetting stuff. Consequences of not doing these live, but I figured if I tried to do this live, then I would have failed so many times, and yeah, no. I wouldn't have wanted to put myself through that. So now we're going to go ahead and make our way back to the STARS office. This is where we pick up the submachine gun. Given Claire's options, this thing is very, very handy. Especially against the G3 boss fight. Now, over here I couldn't remember if I grabbed the first aid spray or not, but I already did. So now I'm gonna wait by the door a little bit. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to figure out where Mr. X is. Ideally you want him to head more towards the right side of the hallway. But it sounded like he was going towards the left side of the hallway this time, so I figured I'd just kind of have to deal with him. Fortunately, he had already gone back through the library and was making his way back to the main hall, so he just kind of stayed out of my way, which was nice. As a matter of fact, we're going to go over here, and yeah, there he is right there, going through the main hall, minding his own business. And you know what? That's okay. He can go his way, I'll go mine, and, you know, everything will just be all groovy. No problem. So up here we're heading towards the clock tower puzzle. If you are quick enough, that zombie should never grab you. It is a little scary running past him, but you should be fine. And now I'm going to fast forward through the clock tower puzzle.
That worked?
Before leaving, you're going to want to go into this back hallway here to grab the large gunpowder. This is just so that way we can make a lot of acid rounds later. Now, a funny story, when I was practicing for this guide, I had actually forgotten to grab this part, so please do not forget to pick that up, because you are not going to want to have to run back through all this stuff to go back and get it. So sometimes, on the other side of that door, you will have a zombie and Mr. X waiting for you. The reason I decided to try to run past that zombie there was because he was kind of facing the corner, so I figured I could get by him. And this right here is why I wanted to turn both of those zombies into crawlers. Because if you don't do that, then you don't have Leon's shotgun to, you know, get a quick stun on the zombies and keep moving. So, but here we're just going to go grab the extra part and do the circuit board puzzle. Alright, so now we're at the Sherry section. For this puzzle, I don't know why, but I was struggling a little bit. So there's gonna be a lot of fast forwarding through this puzzle. The solution is kinda randomized. Well, it's more like the starting positions of the blocks are randomized, and it's just really, really annoying. So this section is going to have a lot of fast forwarding, and I'm also going to fast forward to the part before Chief Irons starts chasing you, just because the Sherry section is basically an auto-scroller, so I'm not going to force you guys to sit through that. In case you were wondering, that puzzle took me about 3 minutes to solve. Normally it doesn't take that long, I don't know, I guess I was just having a stroke or something that time. But yeah, so the Chief Irons chase scene. This is probably one of the most stressful parts on hardcore, not because it's difficult, but when you're going for S+, this is the last spot that you want to fail on, because it's such a free section of the game that if you screw up and get caught, it just makes you feel like complete shit. And fun fact, when I was first going for my very first S+ rank, I used my first save before the first William fight, and I ended up getting to this spot twice and failing twice, which caused me to lose about 20 to 25 minutes of progress each time, and yeah, I was livid to say the least. So basically you want to go hide behind that white dresser. As soon as he says, "Show yourself, I know you're in here," that's about the time you want to start making your way around the dresser. You want to wait for him to come back around. And when he says that, that's when you want to start moving, because right there he stumbles on something, and that's your best opportunity to get around the tables. You want to stop about right here where the tablecloth is over, wait for the flashlight, and right there you want to make absolutely sure that he brings the flashlight back to his side of the table before you move. Because I got a little too antsy when I was practicing for this guide, and yeah, I lost, and since I was waiting until the sewers to save, that was a grand total of about 45 minutes of progress lost. This is the stuff that I went through to bring you this guide. Which is just further reasoning for why I'm glad I did not attempt to do this live. So all you gotta do is sit beside that little dresser there, immediately get the key and turn around, and I would imagine you know what to do for the rest of this section. Use the key on this door, make your way down the stairs, and something that I actually didn't know until probably a week after the game came out is you actually don't have to use the key on the front door. You can just run straight to this door. I used to think it was one of those things where it's like you have to use the key on the wrong door to trigger the event where you can actually go through the right door. I know it sounds a little silly, but that was my thought process. So that completes the Sherry section. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people who are kind of torn on that section. I don't really like the fact that it's an auto-scroller, but I do think it's a neat addition to the game, because it kind of brings back a little bit of like the vibes of RE7, which I really, really enjoyed.
Just you wait, asshole.
Which, if any of you watching are interested in RE7, I actually have a boss guide up for Madhouse difficulty. Um, so here I want to grab 2 first aid sprays because it's about to be Claire's turn to run through the dogs, and I want to have those just in case something goes wrong. Um, I'm going to be taking out the machine gun ammo because I plan on using the machine gun. And we're just going to fast forward a little bit to get to the spot where I use the parking garage key, just because not a whole lot going on in this section. We're not going to be fast forwarding through the streets though, because unlike Leon, Claire actually has quite a bit going on in her street section. And of course, Mr. X shows up again, but he's pretty easy to deal with. You simply just run a circle around these cars, and by the time you do that, the gate is open, and you can start making your way out. Now, on my first playthrough of this game, when I got to the top of this hill here, and I saw the Kendo gun shop over there, that's where I thought you had to go. Mainly because I was too much of a coward to deal with these zombies over here, but yeah. You want to shoot this guy in the leg as much as possible, hopefully with better aim than mine. Your goal there is basically to either shoot off his leg or just get a stacker. The reason you want to use the machine gun to do that is because Mr. X is still right behind you and you don't want to get punched just because you were moving slow. Up here we're going to pull out the handgun because there's only one zombie, and I'm pretty sure Mr. X stops chasing you at this point. And now is when we get to run through the dogs. Fortunately, at least in my experience, it seems like Claire has a little bit easier time with the dogs, but that does not mean you should let your guard down. So over here I'm kind of running in zigzags back and forth and stuff, just to, you know, kind of keep them off my tail. I want to grab this machine gun and this herb just to have extra resources. And now we're going to run through here. You want to immediately run at an angle kind of like that, so that way that dog doesn't clip you. And make your way to the bus. Pick up this grenade. Shoot this man in the leg. I wasn't ready for him to stagger, so I went for the full shooting off of the leg. And I'm not sure if maybe I'm just not cutting that turn hard enough or something, but that dog seems to always hit me. But I'm not going to worry about healing right now, because I don't really need to. And for those who don't know, Claire actually runs a little bit faster in caution state. How much faster, I'm not sure. Now the reason why I'm going up the steps, this is something I actually didn't know until I went for my platinum trophy to get all the files. But you can actually come up here and go into the bathroom, and there's a lot of stuff in here. You've got a first aid spray, machine gun ammo, which I guess further proves that this is definitely an American orphanage. Ooh, shots in my own country. And there's also a file in there, and that was the last file I needed to get my platinum trophy. So we're just fast forwarding a little bit here because it's just a straight shot to the next part where stuff starts happening. Mr. X does chase you through this section, but this is probably the least stressful Mr. X chase in the game. Simply because you're just running along a fixed path to an elevator, and he gets cut in half by William.
Don't stop!
Which is still hilarious how he somehow ends up as the boss in Leon's game. But you know what, hey, it's a dumb gameplay thing, you know, it's whatever. So here I'm gonna put away mostly everything except for my green herb. Oh yeah, I do want the grenade launcher because there is a room with a couple of zombies that I feel like the grenade launcher is really handy for. What else am I getting? Okay, I'm also getting my handgun too. I'm not I'm not 100% sure what my thought process for this room was, but you know, hey. So we're gonna grab those enhanced rounds for the SLS-60 and put away the acid rounds, put away those, the acid rounds, and the machine gun ammo. We're gonna
Sherry,
we're gonna be hitting
can you
another
hear me?
box soon, but there are a couple of things that I want to pick up. Um,
Ow,
so
this
I just
smells
want
like
to make
shit.
sure that I have as much space as possible to get those things. We're gonna go ahead and get this herb because we're in the sewers, which is home to poisony boys. Yay, poison. Pick up the high gunpowder because it's very important for Claire, especially since we have a large gunpowder that we haven't used yet.
Cable car. Really?
So in this room right here, we're gonna pick up these flame rounds out of the corner, and we're gonna hit this guy with a flame round. And I really didn't want to use a grenade right there, but you know, that's what happens. Over here, we're gonna enter S, Z, and F on this combination lock. This just gives me some extra machine gun ammo, which is going to be handy for this section because
Hold on,
I'm
Sherry.
going to
Be right
opt
there.
to run through the sewers with the machine gun since she doesn't have a shotgun. Even though the grenade launcher does do more damage, the machine gun can saw off legs, which really all I'm looking for is something to get the zombies out of my way. So here we're gonna grab this red herb, we're gonna mix everything up to get a full heal with a defense boost, grab the T handle, and then we're gonna go over to the safe and get the reinforced frame for the SLS-60, that way it can use the high caliber ammo. After this, we're just simply going to make our way back to the item box to do some inventory management, and then this is where I recommend using your first save. Um, a lot of people recommend using your first save before the G2 fight, but um, I would much rather use it here because sometimes these sewers can just be awful to run through. Especially if you get screwed in the cesspool area, but I'll talk more about that in part 2 of this guide. So here we're just going to kind of wrap up some inventory management, pull out the machine gun, get as much ammo for it as possible. Not really as much ammo, all we need is the 200 that comes in the full box. And we have 5 inventory spaces to pick up the spark shot and 3 plugs. So I'm going to save the game, and I will see you guys in part 2.